And we're live.
Yay! Welcome to PPV Magic Hour. We are so excited to be here. We're going to give everybody just a minute to hop on. Please, if you're watching us, please share out the live so that we can get this out and lots of people can see us and chat. Chat's lots of Disney magic with us.
Yep. Grab your snack, grab your drink while we're waiting, and then we'll get busy. What you girls got? So I have my summer. Okay, so how cute is this Mickey Solo cup? It's from Epcot. I mean, it's my summer sweet tea drink, but it's like hard plastic Epcot World Showcase, but it's like red Solo cup.
Cute. When did you get that?
When we were just there in March.
Putting that on my shopping list.
However, you do have to hand wash it, or all this cuteness will come up.
That's really cute. That's really cute.
And your ears are adorable. I need a
pair. Oh my God. I don't know if people can see this before I start the video, but they're pool float Mickey ears. They're actually my daughter Molly's. And so for everyone who's watching, she made me make an announcement that she let me borrow her ears. So that's like a big deal. So here we are.
So sweet.
Mom.
All right. Should we get this party started?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Woohoo! Welcome back. Welcome to our second live that we have done. We had so much fun the first time. We're so super excited to be back. So welcome everyone who is on here. And we also want to give a shout out to everyone who watches the playback, because we know not everyone can be on here live all the time. So welcome. We're so excited to be here. We have lots to talk about today, and as you can kind of see via my ears, that our big hot topic this time around is all about summer travel. And we tend to kind of take note amongst our team, and find out what is sort of the hot item, what's the hot question of the month. And for this month, people are asking us all about beating the heat in the parks during the summer, and can we still have fun? The answer is yes, 100%, and we're going to tell you why today. With that being said, we love to do like a little giveaway each time, and this time we have a really cool Disney towel that we will be giving away. So we want you to comment here in the live comments and let us know which month of the summer you would prefer to travel. Are you a family that loves to get away as soon as school get out? Or do you like to kind of wrap up summer with a fun getaway? What is your kind of go-to month to travel during the summer? So comment below. And then towards the end of the show, we will pick one lucky winner to send this fun towel to.
Yay.
Yeah. So we also have some sort of breaking news, and we like to share any upcoming news that we've recently heard about in the theme parks and beyond each time we hop on with you guys. And a couple of big things this week. So just today, Walt Disney World announced some great new very exciting, very popular character greetings that will be happening, as we know right now, in the Magic Kingdom, but we also know that that could change. Moana is making appearances in the Magic Kingdom, which is a very rare occasion for her. And she's super popular, and it's very, very difficult to find her and meet her. So if you're headed to the park soon, or, you know, getting a trip on the books, we'll be talking to you about where you can find Moana in Magic Kingdom and how to go about getting that coveted photo with her. So, and also Mulan is going to be in Magic Kingdom, which is also something that doesn't usually happen. It's also hard to find her too. So we're excited. The other kind of piece of breaking news is that there's been a mask update, a mask law rule update in Magic Kingdom. And we know that the topic law in Disney, I guess, is law, right? That's the way I do it.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's been a lot of discussion about masks, and this is going to segue into, Whitney is going to get into some real deep details about mask wearing. But the big thing is that you can now take socially distanced photos, standing still, of course, in parks without your mask on. So no more castle pics with your mask. Everyone's going to be able to see your family's beautiful smile. So this is super exciting. It's a step in the right direction. We know there's a long way to go as far as, you know, COVID rules and guidelines, but this is pretty cool. And we're really excited about it. So Whitney, I'm going to let you kind of talk about, beating the heat in the summer and those masks, and how are you going to survive this summer? So take it away.
Okay, so before we do that, though, I want to know what's your favorite month, your summer month to travel? Because we travel every summer to Walt Disney World because my husband's a teacher, and my girls are involved in stuff all year long. And so summer is when we've always traveled, even since their very first Disney trip. So we are always a June family because we here in the Midwest, we usually wrap up school like towards the end of May, beginning of June, and then we roll out like immediately. Typically, that's kind of our go-to. So early June, first week of June is our favorite time. What about you girls?
Katie, take it.
So we usually don't go in the summer months. We usually try to break the kids away, but I think that's going to be more difficult now that they're older. And my sister's a guidance counselor, and if we want to do family trips, for sure, we're going to have to make summer arrangements. So I'm thinking maybe next June we're going to try and go as a family. Again, like it's kind of fun. Looking forward to like starting the summer and getting out there. So I think we're going to be a June family next year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jen?
So exciting. So I have two things. Of course, I have to be difficult. So my kids love to break away when school gets out because, you know, it's been a long year and they love to get away and enjoy the magic. So we love to get away, at least for a long weekend when school gets out, and get down to the parks. However, I like to break away towards the end of the summer with my husband without the kids for a weekend. Even if it's just a weekend, we get away. We enjoy the resorts. We eat some nice meals. We enjoy, you know, sitting by the pool. And then we hit Food and Wine Festival over in Epcot when that kicks off. And it's really exciting. And also my anniversary coincides with the end of the summer. So it usually works out to try to get away with him for a couple of days. So sometimes we get down there twice in the summer, and that's okay. They're two different trips and two different experiences. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So like I said, we go every summer, usually at least once a summer. And so we did go last year. So we went in July, right after the parks opened. We took the girls back. So, you know, like the dead heat of summer, July in Orlando, Florida. We were a little bit, well, let's just say we went for research. we were expecting it to be hot and tough, and we prepped the girls. And you have to remember, this was early on, kind of in the mask wearing world, you know, that we live in now. They hadn't been out of school for that long, and all of these things. So when we went in July, we tried a lot of different things in regards to masks. We came like fully prepared. So here are a few of my thoughts about masks. I will tell you, we left that trip feeling like it was way better than we anticipated it would be. And was in July, right? So here are a few things that we did to help kind of survive Disney with masks with 3 kids and a husband who doesn't like to be hot. And to be honest, I don't really enjoy being hot either. So here are a few of my top tips. First of all, we came with like a million different kinds of masks that first trip. Now I've been back 3 times since then. The kids went again in March. So now we're kind of more like mask pros at this point. But this first trip for us, we came with different types of masks. So my middle, Georgia, she wanted to get these cute princess masks from Etsy. So they were like the cloth ones that tied. So we had some that tied. We had some that were cloth. We had some that were paper, kind of like the surgical masks that you see. We had the cutesy Disney ones that you can get online or you'll see all around the parks. We had the ear savers. I mean, we legit came with every option so that while we were there, we could just decide what was the best fit. And even still, now that I know what is best fit for us, I would still recommend that you bring a couple different options if it's your first time, because what works for one family isn't necessarily going to work for everyone. But for us, I can tell you after a lot of trial and error, the best thing that we found to beat the heat with the masks in the park were these paper masks. So I get mine from Costco. And I know not everywhere has Costco, but Sam's or what's it called where you're at, Jen? Like big warehouse, big box.
BJ's, yeah. BJ's. Mm-hmm.
So these are my favorite. They are literally just like the surgical mask. You know, they have the nose piece. You know, super easy, super simple. I love these for a few reasons. First of all, they were really breathable and not too hot. You could also switch them out pretty easily. And that's another tip that I would say to parents is definitely bring multiple of the same mask. So say, you know, you love these paper masks. So we brought a Ziploc bag. Every person in the family had a Ziploc bag with their name on it. And we kept it in our little backpack or fanny pack so that if you got wet on Splash Mountain and you didn't want to walk around with like a soggy mask, you just throw that one away, put on your new one. Or if it's just sweaty and you don't like the feeling and you want to like refresh, you know, after dinner or whatever, you can get another mask. So that would be another tip. I would say bring a few different options. Papers seem to work best. Even the kiddos, like our Costco has the same thing in kid styles. So like kid size paper masks. We've of course used all the cute girly colors, but you know, just the surgical type. And even the girls ended up loving these the most. They seemed to work the best in the parks. So I would say try different things, bring multiples. Another way that you can kind of beat the heat with the masks is to use the relaxation zones that the parks have. And Katie's going to talk a little bit about the parks, but within the park, there are these areas that are manned by a Disney cast member and they are roped off and heavily monitored, only so many people in, so many people out. But some of them are inside, some of them are outside in the shade. And they're just areas that you're allowed to come sit down. Usually there's tables and chairs and you can take your masks off. So you can be right there. And if your kiddos need a break or somebody's riding an attraction that you're not riding, but someone just needs a break from the mask, they can come sit there for however long and take their mask off. And you're going to find these in all 4 of the parks. We honestly did not even use a relaxation zone one time for our July trip. We talked about that at the end of the trip. We're like, we didn't even end up needing that. We were on the go so much, in and out of air conditioning, all of those things that we didn't end up using them, but it's there if you need it. So that's kind of a nice option if you just need a little break. Now, speaking of breaks, another way to beat the heat with the masks is to really utilize your snacking and your dining time. So if you know me well, you know that eating in Walt Disney World is like my most favorite thing. I love my table service dining. I love my snacking. I love my quick service. So use that to your advantage. You know, plan that into your day in a way that it's going to be beneficial to you in terms of the mask wearing. So keep in mind, whenever you're dining, of course, you're taking your mask off. Now, when you're doing your table service meals, you're seated, then you can remove your mask while you're in the restaurant. I know there was some back and forth, some kind of think it was more clickbait posts that people were like blowing up about that you had to wear your mask like in between bites and all of this like recently while you were in the restaurant. I was in the parks like the week after that came out, and that was absolutely not true. Once you're seated, masks off, you just sit them at the table. If you have to get up to use the restroom or something like that, then you would put your mask back on, obviously. But otherwise, you can sit there for a good hour just dining and relaxing without your mask. So I would say talk to your PPV agent about how you schedule those meals. In the summer, I would schedule table service meals earlier in the day, maybe during the heat of the day, a late lunch, a 1 or 2 o'clock or 12 o'clock even, when normally I like to dine in the evening for that table service. But this is going to give you right now, while you're wearing a mask, it's going to give you a good chance to sit in the heat of the day when the crowds are at their highest, take those masks off, kind of relax, give your family a chance to recharge before you tackle the second half of your day. And the same is going to be true with snacking. You just step to the side, take your mask off, and snack. And again, it's just another way that you have to wear the mask, but you can still take it off and get a break from it. I think if you really utilize those things, it's super helpful, and it is not nearly as bad as what people think it's going to be. Like I said, we've been back 2 or 3 more times since then. So clearly it didn't bother my family having to wear them in July as their first trip. But what about you guys, Jen and Katie, thoughts on the masks? Any tips?
Yeah, I want to say that I would agree. I have been back to the parks with my own kids, and I don't think not one time did they even complain about the masks. Of course, I feel like they've become so accustomed to wearing them on the regular anyway that it's not really anything different, I would say that we kind of are more paper mask, disposable mask people in the parks too, especially when it gets warm. And I don't know about you, but when I get back to the resort, I don't want to have to wash them and hang them to dry and deal with it. I know it's probably not good for the environment. There's probably somebody who's thinking right now that we're horrible people, but it's just really a convenience factor. And I just bring a bag of them with me, toss them in my, backpack or whatever, and we're good to go. We also really haven't had to take advantage of those relaxation stations, I think, because we just work our breaks in, and we're also snackers. And so we just find a spot to, pop over and take a break. And I feel like it's going to be weird when we ever go back to the parks and don't have to wear a mask anymore. I just feel like it's kind of become part of life. Yeah. It's just become part of life, and I think it's okay. And you can still have a really great experience. And I think if you don't just focus on just that, just go have fun, and everybody else is doing the same thing. So it's not like you're alone.
Right.
How are you, Katie?
So we went again in July when the parks had just opened, shortly after Whitney had went. And that was our big concern. And literally, I had everything in the bags, just like Whitney. Everybody had their own giant 2-gallon Ziploc bag filled with different types of masks, because I knew that Disney was strict on it, and I was more worried about the kids, obviously. So we did the whole shebang, and we brought the paper masks were definitely the best thing. Masks, everybody was still kind of getting used to them, and we ordered cute ones that I spent like $20 on Etsy that like literally didn't do a thing for us. So and even on Disney's end, they had come up with new masks that are a little bit more breathable, and like the earpiece is like super comfortable and flexible. They come in kid sizes and 2 sizes for the adults. And these are what we used the last time in December. I brought the paper masks. My husband still uses the paper mask because he happens to sweat a lot, even in December. But these Disney masks we loved. You can get them online or at the stores, but they were super comfortable and breathable. So these are actually what we went with in December and what we'll probably go with in April. So I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So all great tips. So I would just say, like, at this point in our lives, we've been living with masks. The girls and I, we talk about this all the time. We have to wear a mask to go to school. We have to wear a mask to go to the mall. In most places, we have to wear a mask to go to the doctor's office. And this is just one of those things. I know it can feel annoying, But right now, if you want to go to Disney, you have to wear a mask. And we're doing it in life and living just fine, you know, in everything else that we're doing. And so I just think if you talk to your agent, kind of work through some of those, you know, suggestions and tips and planning ahead of time, it can really make the mask a non-issue at this point. Your kids are used to it. You're used to it. And it's definitely a small price to pay to be able to get back to the magic, in our opinion. Now I see some questions in the comments from Robin, especially about ways to kind of beat the heat in the parks and in terms of like cooling off and that sort of thing. And that's going to kind of segue us into what Katie's going to talk about, which is beating the heat in the parks.
So, you know, as I had said, you know, everybody kind of deters thinking like, oh, June, July, August are going to be so hot. That's just what works for some people. And I don't think it should be a deterrent. We went in July, like just this past July, and I was nervous about it. I was thinking like, are the kids going to do okay? And the masks and what, you know, the pools and everything, what things were going to look like. But everything went great. And there's so many ways to like beat the heat for sure. Obviously, as Whitney had mentioned, like maybe pack a couple different masks because each family is definitely going to be different in what they prefer. So, you know, take that into consideration. Try a couple masks out, especially if you have little kiddos that, you know, might not be going to school in masks for like a long period of time. It might be good for like having them, you know, put them on and see how they feel because Disney is strict. I mean, some people's job is just to remind people that they need to have their mask on and have their nose covered and things like that, which is great. And I think things are lightening up a little bit, which is also great, but it's nice to make sure that, you know, they're able to follow the rules when you get there and you're not going to have a meltdown.
Right.
Another great option, I think, is to pack things before you get there so that you're prepared for the different types of weather. No matter what, it's probably going to be hot, but you're probably going to get some rain. So the Disney ponchos are great, but so aren't ponchos off of Amazon.
Well, yeah.
Right? I mean, it's great to have an electric yellow poncho with Mickey on the back, and I love it, but you can save some money and pack some ponchos for you and your family and bring that and pack that in the stroller or in one of your little bags to have that. And it keeps you dry when it does rain. We went as a family of 10. We packed the ponchos every day. The one day it poured, we did not have the ponchos. And I'm talking, I have the best pictures. My mother looked like a soaking wet animal. Like her hair was everywhere, our socks were soaked. I mean,
She's like reading you.
Yeah, we could see her underwear. It was bad. It was just a whole nother level. So ponchos for sure. I would also recommend maybe a change of clothes, like socks or just even like a t-shirt for the kids. Just because it does get hot if you aren't really close. My mother commented.
You are rude, Katie.
It was a memory. It was a memory that
I feel like I remember these pictures too.
Oh yeah,
I remember
not thinking,
ponchos guys, are you rookies or what?
Yeah, I mean, they were rookies, and I let them hold the ponchos, and that's why we have soaking wet pictures. But our shoes were wet, you know, our socks were wet, everything was wet. So I think a couple change of clothes is great. And it keeps the, you know, from getting like that sticky, sweaty feel. It's helpful to kind of refresh. The cooling towels are huge. That's another thing, like you can just pack along with you.
Whitney's got hers out. Yes.
Cooling towel. Where do you get yours, Whit?
I mean, we just got these at like sporting goods store, you know, like it's like Dick's Sporting Goods. Yeah.
You get them real cheap in bulk on Amazon too, in like a 6 or 8 pack. And then you can have lots to kind of change them out, but they're phenomenal. Yeah. They're really, really great. They work great. They have them in the parks too. Katie, you might mention this too, but again, like the Disney ponchos, you know, the price point is a little bit up there. So if you bring them with you ahead of time, it's a great tip.
Yeah, I think you should, whatever you can buy and pack with you, save your money for like a Disney snack, which you can't get anywhere else. So that's how I look at it. And even with that, like bottled water, we usually always like you need to stay well hydrated through this, or else everyone's going to be miserable. I'm not a big drinker. I always am like reminding myself I have to drink more water, but when I am there, I am on it. Like and same with the kids. Like you're gonna get tired, you're gonna get run down. The water's huge, but we always get a delivery made. People go from all different things, from Instacart to Amazon Prime, things like that. But I always get a delivery, and the first thing I get is a case of water. Right? I mean, it's so much cheaper than buying it there. You can bring it into the parks. Sometimes I throw them in the freezer the night before, and then when I take them out, and by the time we get to the park and need our first frozen water, it's melted. So that's a huge savings, and it's just convenient, and it forces you. Like otherwise, you're like, I don't want to spend $4. I'll wait a little bit longer, and then you're like dying of heat stroke, and you just want a glass of water. And then if you go to some of the quick service options there too, they provide some free water as well. So maybe pack like a Yeti or like a thermos or something.
So that's what I was going to say, Katie. When the girls were younger, when my three were younger, we would always come with, all three of them would have their own refillable water bottle or sippy or whatever. And we would bring like little like lemonade packs or Gatorade packs, like the individual like servings, and get free ice water at any of the quick service locations, fill up their cups over and over all day long. And then as a special treat, give them, the lemonade pack once or twice during the day, which also saved us a lot of money. And so definitely keep in mind, you can bring in snacks and water and all of those type of things into the parks. You definitely can do that. Disney has some specifications on their website in regards to like what size of a cooler you can bring. You're not going to want to haul around like a cooler, but throw a couple water bottles in your bag, throw some cool snacks, or just bring empty refillable containers for the kiddos to refill throughout the day. Any of those things are going to save you money and save you a lot of whining from hot, thirsty kiddos during the middle of the day, for sure.
We do have a couple of questions. I just wanted to, before they get too lost in the comments, Stephanie is asking about mini fridge. Every Walt Disney World resort room does have a mini fridge. So whether you're staying at a value resort or at the Grand Floridian, every resort does have those mini fridges. Some of the villas with kitchens do have full-size refrigerators, but all standard hotel rooms do have a fridge. So if you did get, like Katie was mentioning, those food deliveries or waters or things, you can definitely keep things cold and ready to take to the parks. Someone else commented about those the spray bottle fans, the Mister fans.
That was
awesome. We also see a lot of times, and my kids like to use those little lanyard fans that you can kind of just wear on your neck, and they keep used to keep themselves cool. So that's also
and those were really great
option.
Masks. Those were really, that was something we did use with the mask. Like we would kind of like fold the mask up a little bit so it didn't come like all the way down under, but it was still covering like your mouth and your nose. And then the girls would like hold the little fan like up under their chin. And honestly, it was enough. It really helped during the summer heat, where those little
hands down. Yes. Yeah. And Kate is asking about water and snacks into the parks. Absolutely. Yes. And if you're lucky enough to have little ones and you have a stroller, it's a great spot to store a soft-sided cooler, in the bottom that you can keep waters, juice boxes, and of course snacks for the kids too. So the stroller definitely multi-purpose serves two purposes, to give your kids a break in the heat and to take a nap, and then of course to store your snacks and drinks. So definitely something I miss as now my kids are older. I don't miss necessarily pushing it around, but I do miss having that storage space for all of these things that we're talking about bringing to the parks. So all great things.
And just on the stroller too, sorry, just on the stroller, I think a lot of people think, like, I personally love the stroller. I used it up until even in July when we went, we used it. And Addie is 9. Well, at the time was 9. And it's like, she even took naps in the stroller. Like she was tired. It was hot. We, whatever, we were walking, especially like enjoying Epcot. I loved doing the stroller, and she just kind of hung out, gave her a little break. So I wouldn't think of it as like, like you're going to go to your local mall because your kids go in the stroller then, but like you're doing a lot of walking. It's convenient. It also helps with like beating the heat for the kids. You can rent them, you can bring your own, and they're easy enough to like just flip open, flip close. It helps with just storage and things like that. I've used it up until Addie was 9, and she loved it. So
yeah, we did the same thing. We definitely used the stroller for the girls long after we would ever like push them in a stroller in like normal like public life.
Right.
And those like that first trip after like not having a stroller I was like, oh, but now we're finally used to it. My oldest will be in high school next year. So no strollers for us anymore, but that was definitely a lifesaver. And to that point too, the same with umbrellas. Like umbrellas are great for the rain, which we know, you're going to need. That's one thing that I always carry on all of my park days is a small, like, itty bitty, like could throw in your purse umbrella. And now that the girls are older, we bring like one for everybody, like 4 or 5. Because if it does start raining, then you have it. But also they're great for the sun. So if it's super hot or a really sunny day and you're just walking on that concrete, you'll see the Seagraves girls all like high maintenance looking VIP strolling the parks in their little sun umbrellas because they've like figured out that it definitely like helps cool things off. So umbrellas are great too. I did want to quick mention my girl, Rebecca. This is one of my clients asked about park hours. And that's a good question, especially for summer travel. So right now, park hours post-COVID are definitely look at first glance a little scary because they're super limited, right? And so that's been the case since last year when the parks opened. This was a big sort of change in the way we did the parks. We're used to, of course, the parks being open super early and staying open super late, especially in the summer. And so we saw Disney scale those hours back. And at first, they kind of kept with that. Now that we're coming, even I would say since the holidays, really, since Christmas on, what's happening is as we approach your travel dates, whatever those are, whether it be a holiday trip, a spring break trip, a summer trip, as we approach those dates, those park hours we're seeing extended. So even my March trip that we just went on, like 2 weeks before we left, the parks open, the hours changed. So parks open an hour or 2 earlier and they stayed open an hour or 2 later. Or Epcot, for instance, still opened at 10 or 11, but it was staying open till 11 p.m. And that's been pretty consistent. So I would just say if you have a summer trip on the books and you're concerned with the park hours, don't panic yet. They are more limited than they would have been 2 years ago. And that's just a kind of a post-COVID policy right now, getting people out of the parks in time to sanitize and get everything ready for the next day. But we are anticipating we're going to continue seeing those hours extended as you get closer to your travel dates. And that's kind of how Disney's been handling them. Katie, any more tips for the park?
Well, just kind of on that, as you're thinking through like the parks, now with social distancing, lines are going to look a lot longer and people are spread out a little bit more. But like, I would say a good 80% of your wait are inside queues. So like, Disney has you kind of walking through, you'll go through in Peter Pan, like you'll go through, the kids' room and walk through and see. So there are options where you're going to be inside whether it's shade or it's an air conditioned room. So you're kind of moving along, and especially now the lines look long, but you're moving fast. So don't get discouraged, and some of your wait is going to be inside an air conditioned queue. So it may be hot for a few minutes, but you'll be moving along, and they do a good job with that.
Yep.
And that's a great point, Katie. And that's something that when you work with us, we will talk through that with you when we're kind of mapping out your days and kind of make suggestions about, maybe which rides or attractions might be better to do first thing in the morning or in the evening when it's a little bit cooler out, and what things to kind of, try to get to during the heat of the day, when maybe you need a little bit more of an AC break, and you can get into an air conditioned show, or, some of these attractions that are indoors. So I think you'd be surprised if you're someone who hasn't been to the parks in a while, just how many attractions do have either an air conditioned queue or fans running or things like that to help cool you off. And it really, it does help and make a huge difference. So I think a lot of the day you're in and out of the heat, you're in and out of that hot sun, but you're not outside baking in the heat, all day long, every day. So, and that kind of segues into us talking about breaks at the resorts, which is my favorite thing to talk about.
Your favorite. Yeah.
It's definitely my jam. My family, we are big resort people. We love the Walt Disney World resorts for many, many reasons. But one of them is because we like to enjoy downtime. We are a family who loves the theme parks, but we also love going to Walt Disney World to kind of just escape the busy, right? So some families love to get down there and go and see every single thing that they can. But we've been lucky enough to go a lot of times. And so now we're at the point where we love to go down and have fun, but we also love to relax. And especially in the summer, it's hot. There's no way around that. It's definitely hot. So if you can choose a resort that works for you and your family, you can enjoy some nice downtime in between your park days. Maybe work, a pool day in, which we love to do somewhere in the middle of the week. You've had a couple of busy park days. Now you can enjoy, some downtime and really, just relax and swim and kind of refresh yourself. I'm also a big advocate for mapping out your week so that you can get to the parks early in the morning on those hot summer days and heading back to the resort for an afternoon swim, cool off. Even if you have littles, they can take a nap in the AC. And then, as park hours are extended in the evening, you can easily go back, dinner time or so, have a light bite to eat and get back into the parks for the evening when the sun goes down. So lots of options. And that's definitely something that, especially in the summertime, I think you do have to work in. Even if you typically are a family that loves that open to close park day, Whitney can speak to that because her family is definitely open to close, hardcore park goers. But even they will work in, some pool time during the week or to kind of break things up a little bit. And I just think that it definitely helps to kind of refresh everybody, give you that second win, and get you back in those parks, doing more. And I think too, it's important when you're looking at the resort you're going to stay at to kind of base that on, what's important to you guys. Well, my kids love a water slide. And we actually had this team chat recently. And we all talked about kind of what's important. And, here in the Northeast, our kids only enjoy pools and swimming and things for a few months out of the year. So that is an important thing to us when we're choosing a resort for our vacation, because they love the pools, right? So they love, being able to enjoy that time. So we really kind of base our Walt Disney World vacation around which resort we're going to stay at for those reasons. So I have to ask you girls, what is your favorite Walt Disney World resort to stay at, based on your favorite pool? I know we all have a lot of favorites, right? I want you guys that are listening live to also comment that have been to, Walt Disney World before. Tell us what your favorite resort pool is, because I'm just curious and I need to know.
You know what mine is. So our family favorite resort right now is Disney's Yacht and Beach Club. I lean more towards the Yacht Club side only because those rooms are newly refurbished and the beds are raised, so our 1 million pieces of luggage can go under the bed. But we love the resort because we love the pool. It's like a mini water park there, Stormalong Bay. if you're a client of mine or you know me at all, I've probably talked to you about Yacht and Beach Club a million times because it is that cool. And so much so that we frequent Disney a lot, Walt Disney World. We even almost every trip we add nights on and we come in early just to stay at Yacht Club for like an opening, like couple of pool days. So maybe we have a week at the Grand, but my husband will be like, well, I really think we need to come in a little early so we can at least like spend a day at Yacht Club and let the girls swim. So we almost always do a pre-stay at Yacht Club, if not the whole stay. Because that pool is just on point. It's the best pool in all of Walt Disney World. I will tell you though, my family really loves the Grand Floridian pools as well. We love the Grand, and their big, what they call the quiet pool, is super huge and beautiful and really cool. And they love the slides too the slide on the other side. So, what about you, Katie?
So, I mean, the yacht, Stormlong Bay, is not, there's no comparison. I don't think, and it's fantastic. But I will say, and Jen will laugh at me, I love Wilderness Lodge. And I love that whole atmosphere. I love the pool. It's so relaxed.
Yep.
It's just fantastic. The kids, Samantha was a little bit younger. She could just kind of walk right in. It was like what do they call it? Like the
zero entry.
Zero entry.
Yeah.
It was, and she was just a little bit more timid and shy, and she just kind of hung out there, but it was just so relaxing. And just the pool bar.
It is unique. It is unique to that resort. It is. That's true.
I love it. And I do have to say that pool area at night and the waterfall and the whole thing, it is so relaxing, honestly. And, as much as you guys know, I'm not a wilderness person, but I have to say, first of all, the resort is gorgeous. It's so grand and beautiful. And if you love that feel, there's nothing else like it. But at night, there's nothing better, honestly, than coming back and just sitting out there, because it is so calming and relaxing. And you would never know you're in the middle of Orlando when you're hanging out back there. It's very, very well done. So that's a cool one. But guys, I got to tell you,
I know what you're going to say.
I mean, you know what I'm going to say, because Polynesian is definitely our family favorite, right? We're big Hawaiian fans. We love Hawaii, and my family loves the Polynesian. There's nothing like that volcano pool. We're getting a lot of votes on our live right now for Poly Beach Club and Poly attends kind of a tie here, but something about hanging out at that Polynesian pool, sipping on a tropical cocktail or a Dole Whip and letting your kids swim. They're sliding down that volcano slide, and then the fireworks are going off at Magic Kingdom, and you can see them while you're at the pool. And it's just so cool. And it's really, really, really fun. So, and that resort, I cannot wait. This summer will reopen with some fantastic upgrades, brand new rooms, and an updated pool area. So we're just so, so excited to get back there and check it out.
That's the nachos, KB.
I'm Katie nachos, the pulled pork nachos at the Polynesian by the pool with the fireworks going off. We know that is your favorite thing to do too. So
I've never stayed at the Polynesian, so that is look at what yes, it's on my bucket list for sure. I've never made it there, so
especially now with the refurb.
I know.
It's gonna be
so beautiful. So beautiful.
Yep. Can't wait.
So we're getting lots of good. We got Wilderness Lodge. Carrie Ann loves Geyser Point at Wilderness Lodge. We got a lot of votes for Wilderness Lodge.
There you go, Katie.
So you're not alone. You're not alone. And then the last kind of thing about summer, that we don't often talk about and people don't ask us that often is about the water parks. So aside from the 4 main theme parks, Walt Disney World does have 2 pretty cool water parks, right? Only Blizzard Beach has reopened since COVID closures. So we're still waiting to hear about Typhoon Lagoon. But the water parks are a great spot to kind of get to if you have extra time during your stay. I mean, I know it can be hard to kind of fit another park in when you're trying, to get down there and see and do so many things. But if you do have that downtime or, you're a big water park family, it's definitely worth checking out. And it's not all that expensive to add a, water park feature to your existing park ticket. So something to consider for sure and think about. So, do you guys have other tips to add or things you want to say?
I just wanted to mention about the resort. So I think that, I don't know if we were talking about this with the newsletter, just recently this week, we were kind of chatting about this, or I was speaking with someone about this, but I think a lot of times guests come to us, clients come to us, and when they're first getting started, trying to nail down a resort, and their initial thought is, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the room, so why would I pay for a moderate or a deluxe resort, right? So I think that especially with summer travel, it's important to kind of take note of all these things that we've been talking about, because a lot of what we're talking about in terms of coming back and forth on your park day, letting your kiddos nap, having those really cool pools with the slides and the zero entry and the splash zones for the little ones, that's that deluxe level of resort. And even the moderate has some good slides and nicer pools, but that ease of like coming back and forth for a quick like midday break and all of those things, that's really in that deluxe level. And so, I like to tell clients, yeah, I hear you about the fact that you might not be planning on taking naps every day and whatnot, but also keep in mind, it's not just the room that you're paying for, it's the proximity to the parks, it's the amenities around the resort. So the dining, the pool, the splash pad, the hot tub, all of those things that you're not going to have at the value resort level. So I think it's important to kind of remember that when you're thinking about a summer trip, not that you have to stay moderate or deluxe. I mean, there are certainly good value resorts as well, but just know you're going to get what you pay for in terms of that category and level of resort. And a lot of what we're talking about tonight is sort of in that top tier deluxe category. However, even within the deluxe category, there are varying price points and lots of promos that give you a really good deal that will knock that price down almost to a moderate and even like a less than a family suite at a value resort in some cases. So I wouldn't count the deluxe category out just because you don't feel like you need a fancy room or something like that, because normally that's not why we're suggesting it. And especially during the summer months, I think you will find it valuable for other reasons, for sure, like we've talked about.
Sure. I think you actually get more out of the vacation if you stay at, not necessarily deluxe, but in one of those more convenient moderate deluxe resort areas, just because you feel like you don't have to go back and lug the kids back to the park after you've done the nap or the pool break or whatever. It's literally like, okay, let's just hop on the monorail or go to the Skyliner. It's 5 minutes, and it's so you get so much more out of it. We were definitely value resort families before. I had Jen booking trips for me to Pop Century for like 30 years, and it was fine. We had a good time, but even now that the kids are a little bit older, it is just that extra like convenience factor that you're paying for, and it's worth it. I think you get more out of your vacation if you do that. So I think it's a great idea.
Agreed for sure. But that's also something that I think is individualized for every family too. And we always ask you, what is most important to you? Because your family is obviously different than everyone else. And we want your vacation to be, magical for you guys. So that's a conversation we'll have. We'll talk about ideas and kind of see what the best fit is. So love it. So I know we've already asked you guys a lot of questions, but we've kind of made this a thing, and we like to kind of ask a would you rather question towards the end, because this is going to help us segue into our next live that we're going to do in a couple weeks. So this is our big question, and we want you to comment here in the live. Would you rather get to the parks early and take a midday break at the resort, or would you rather sleep in and enjoy the parks towards the afternoon and evening time? So are you sleep-in people, or are you rise and shine, get out of bed early and rope drop people? So post that in the comments so we can kind of get a feel for, what's things like for your family and what you like. And we will be able to use that on our next live. with that said, we also want to let you know that our next live will be on April 21st, another Wednesday night right here at 8 p.m. So make sure you mark your calendars, and we will definitely be sharing some reminders to you so you can remember to get on. We know life is crazy for everyone. We will continue talking summer travel as we talk summer food and fun and focus on our favorite Epcot festival, the Epcot Food and Wine Festival, which we're so excited to share.
Okay.
Kicks off July 15th this year and runs all the way through November 20th. So it's a huge span of time that, you know, you can get down there. If you're summer travelers, you can definitely start enjoying food and wine over the summer. So we can't wait to share more with all of you.
Yeah.
Anything else, ladies, that we want to add on? Or are we ready?
Are we ready to draw? Do we have our winner? Have we done that?
Yes, we have our winner. So let me just see. Our winner of tonight's giveaway of our special, really fun Disney towel is Rebecca Corbett.
Yay, Rebecca!
Rebecca, if you're still on here, we will make arrangements to get this to you, and we'll shoot you a message. So congrats, and thanks everyone for hopping on tonight. We had so much fun. We're really enjoying these lives, and we hope you are too. Of course, this will save so that if anybody's watching the playback or has time later to watch the playback, you are welcome to, and we can't wait to see you guys again in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
Good night, everybody. Thanks so much for coming on.